There is one player on this chessboard that hasn't come up yet, and maybe we could skate to where the puck is going. When you talk about the South China Sea, okay, sure, South Korea, Japan, Australia, all of those major players there, they're just a couple of 100 million people. But then China is in population decline. Xi apparently is self-destructing in terms of trade. Seems like containment's working pretty well there because of all the self-inflicted wounds. But the fastest growing country, the fastest growing economy, the quickest to develop is India. And they seem to have a very pragmatic approach. Hey, they'll buy cheap oil from Putin, and they are their own sovereign country with their own point of view. Would we not be really well advised over the next 10 to 20 years to make that our priority and India's role in this? How do you look at them?
Well, we definitely view India as an ally, right? It's part of the Quad, which is this Rube Goldberg type alliance structure that we put together in East Asia that includes Australia, Japan, the United States, and India. And India is smartly maintaining its good relations with Russia. The Indians understand, like Jeff and I do, that the Russians are no great threat. But from India's point of view, the real threat is China.
Right.
And there are two places where India cares about China. One is on the India-China border up in the Himalayas, where they've actually had conflicts, right? And there's a real danger of war breaking out. The second place, which is maybe even more dangerous, not at the moment, but will be over time, is the Indian Ocean, because the Chinese are imitating the United States. They not only want to be a regional hegemon, they want to develop power projection capability. So the Chinese are building a blue water navy that can come out of East Asia, through the Straits of Malacca, through the Indian Ocean to the Persian Gulf. And once you start talking about going through the Indian Ocean, the Indians get spooked.
Right.
And that's when the Americans and the Indians come together.
Okay, let's think of this from an engineering point of view, if we could. Why are the Chinese developing the Navy? Because for 40 years, I've read essays on all of the choke points in the South China Sea, the East China Sea, the Indian Ocean against China. That's our policy, choke points. Look at the Malacca Straits. Look what we can do here. First island chain. This is American strategy. Can we keep the Chinese submarines out of the Pacific Ocean? First island chain, and so forth. So, of course, they react. They're rich. They're going to build a navy so that they can get their oil on which their economy runs. Can we be a little bit sensible with them and decide how we're not going to have choke points, and then we don't have to have a nuclear war, which is really going to ruin our day? That's the point. We can think a little bit. We can understand it from their perspective. We can understand it from our perspective. Deconfliction. By the way, I don't believe India is an ally. India is a superpower. India is going to have its own very distinctive interests, thank you. It's not going to be an ally of the United States. I happen to like India enormously and
we're making our iPhones
admired
there.
their policies, but the idea that India is going to ally with the United States against China, in somebody's dream in Washington, because it's another delusion in Washington, because they should get a passport and go see the world and understand something.
But Jeffrey, if they
these are my failed students in Washington right now because they didn't listen to their professor.
Jeffrey, we're making our iPhones in India now. Is that not significantly important?
Say it again.
We're moving iPhone production. Cooper, you're into economics here and that impact. You got Apple moving out of China. You've got Japan funding people leaving China to Vietnam and to India. Is that not the solution here? As we decouple from China, it seems like they come back to the table. We had Xi Jinping kick all the venture capitalists, all investment out of China. He got rid of all the education startups. And then, 2 or 3 years later, he's in San Francisco asking all of us to invest more money and saying, where'd you go?
Okay, first of all, invite me back 10 years, and we'll see how smart all these decisions are. Because
Xi Jinping's?
It's incredible. No, I'm talking about, yes, we've moved to India. That's our great ally. And then we're going to have other issues.
Well, and Vietnam, yeah.
Okay. I think you said that Xi Jinping's trade policy is self-imploding or something.
It seems like there's a lot of self-inflicted wounds.
No,
when
it's
you
not. Let me explain.